Claude recently announced the agent skills. A lot of people are thinking this is game changing, and it certainly is. In this video, I'll talk about what it is, the agent skills. I'll go through some demonstrations. I'll show how it works in real life. So we're going to go through this and build it together. And I'll give some commentary about it and how I plan to use it in the future, how I'm thinking about it. This will be a very accessible discussion. And at the end of it, you will be able to build and use your own agent skills. But more importantly, you will have a framework on how to incorporate this into your workflow going forward. Most of us who use this interface will simply come in and say something like, I want to write a LinkedIn post. You can go ahead and write the LinkedIn post and dial in and keep clarifying until you get the post the way you want. And in the next session that comes up, you're going to come in again and say, I want to write a LinkedIn post, and just keep repeating yourself over and over. And this is what most people end up doing. If you're frustrated by that, you might end up creating a project. And I wouldn't click on projects here because I have quite a bit of projects that I want to show. But you can go into the project, put in the context you want, write the LinkedIn post, and then go back into that project. And that works very well if Claude is all you use. But what if you wanted to go to ChatGPT and write a post with the same style, with the same theme, with the same instructions that you write posts in Claude? How do you do that? How do you port that knowledge over? How do you port that skill over? It's a challenge. And I'm really trying to lay the foundation here on why this has been a problem for a while. If you want to go to Gemini and do the same thing, right now, that portability doesn't carry across the models. And this has been a gap in the industry. Claude has the projects. ChatGPT has something similar to projects. And I think if you go to Gemini, they have something similar. But portability has been missing. Now, what does skill give us? Skill give us a way to decouple those regular instructions, theming, and stylization that you need for your context, so you can use it within Claude environment where I am, and you can port that over to ChatGPT, or you can potentially port it over to Gemini. I'm not saying portability is there yet, but this is the promise of what skills are. Now, that said, let's jump in. I think showing it will be much better than talking. Let me close Claude Code. I don't want to go to Claude Code. I want to go over to this. Click on that. I'm using the Pro plan for those who are curious. Go over to settings, and you want to go under capabilities. So this is where it is. Under capabilities, you're going to want to scroll down through skills. So this is a whole new section that's available. I have a couple of skills here. I'm going to talk about it. There are some out-of-the-box skills. This all comes from Anthropic, from Claude, and these skills are available to you. If you want to use the skill, simply go ahead and enable that, and this allows you to use the skill, or you can toggle that off, and this will make that skill unavailable to you. There is a skill creator, there is a Slack GIF creator, a theme factory, canvas design, you name it. Here is a skill that you probably would not see on your own Claude environment if you are looking at this for the very first time. And this is the LinkedIn post formatter, because this is a custom skill I have brought into my environment. There's also another skill here for create slide dev presentation. You wouldn't see this. It's another custom skill I have imported. I'm going to talk through all of this. So before we jump in and start using these skills, I want to take a step back again and see how we can use this skill. And then I'll go through to show how we can create a skill and then bring it back into Claude. So let's go back into my chat interface. I will put it here. I want to write a LinkedIn post about Claude skills. Help me do that. That's my simple prompt. I want to write a LinkedIn post about Claude skills. Help me do that. It's thinking. I'll write a LinkedIn post about Claude skill. And let's say I want it for developers. And hopefully it wouldn't ask for me for additional prompts. Okay, it's going to keep asking for clarification, so I'm going to force it. Just write, stop asking. Let's see what this comes back with. Here, it's reading the LinkedIn post formatter skill. If you don't have this skill enabled, you're not going to have access to this. Now, it's understanding the main file of the skill, and then it will start writing the post according to how I write my post for LinkedIn because I have put in specific custom instructions into the skill. And this is what it's using. It's written the post. Let's see. Cloud skill, right? Here is a post. And it actually ends with the tags. It ends with a call to action. It ends with 3 bullet points. It talks about the best part. And it obviously starts with some punchy, I would say, catchy line. Now, you might say this is not your style of writing. That is totally fine. This is the instructions I gave it on how to write the LinkedIn post, and it knows exactly how to write the LinkedIn post the way I want it. And this is my way. And for your own way, your own skills might be completely different. This is really the power of skills. Now, let's go back into how I created this skill. Then we're going to talk about ways and how and where you can find skills to use in your own environment. Go back into settings, capabilities, skills, and you can see this skill is enabled. Now, how did I come about having this skill enabled? I'll go over into my directory. So this is essentially my Explorer. And I think I should go in the right direction. I want to open up my cursor. So I'm using cursor to create and manage these skills. And I'll explain my current paradigm, my current approach. The rest assured this approach might change, but I'm just giving you some ideas. So I'm using cursor. I have a GitHub project because I believe everything needs to be in Git and version controlled so I don't lose my work. So in here, of course, I've created a new project called my skills nodes, and this is helping me manage all my skills. The simple way I've done this is my skills for thinking. So decision making, idea generation, being a philosopher, just writing. That is my skill repository. And so I call them skills bucket. Then I have a skills bucket for communication. So here is a skill for writing and polishing my emails, pitching, doing snowflake, story mapping, content creation skill, LinkedIn post. So if you can see the LinkedIn post, this is where the skill is. If you go into that, I have a skill.md, and here I have very specific instructions on how I want the LinkedIn post to be written. This is my reusable skill. Imagine having to type this over and over again. You probably don't want to do that, right? And this is where the skill becomes extremely important to have and to use. Here I have the skill. It does reference some example posts. I talk about the hooks and how I want to put hooks into it. I can change this whenever. Again, just prompt and change the skill. You don't have to write this from scratch by yourself. Let AI do the writing for you. You now have a skill. Now, once you have a skill, the way that skill gets imported into Claude is you're going to want to package it up. And there is a file called .skill file. And there are several ways to do it. The way I found it was just to tell cursor in the prompt to generate, to use the skill and generate this skill file for me. I have a folder here called a skill file, and this is just all my package up skills. So the MD file itself is just the instructions. Let me just slow down on this. This MD file is just the instructions. What you want to import into Claude, cursor, Claude, so easy to slip between those two. But I'm in cursor, I'm trying to get my skill into Claude. Is you're going to want to package it up into .skill file. I think this is probably something new from Anthropic, and I'm guessing they are trying to make it a standard, but this is just a skill file for them to import into their interface. So here, let's go into newsletter skill. I have the newsletter skill. You can open it up here because it's a .skill file, but essentially it's a markdown, I believe. That's underneath. Let's look at the LinkedIn post formatter skill, LinkedIn post skill, Medium post. I write a Medium recap. You can get as many skills as you want. And this is a time to really sit down and start evaluating and assessing yourself, your team, your business, your company to say, what do I actually do? What skills do I need that could be abstracted and encapsulated into specific instructions? This is the hard part. I can tell you that. The technology itself is so easy, but the part of assessing and figuring out what skills do I need for the work I do and understanding the work you do, oh man, this is where people are not even thinking about this. And if you're going to spend time doing this, and I'm just at the beginning, did this demo just to illustrate how I think about it. Assuming you've done that work, you know your inventory of skill, the 50 skills, the 100 skills, or 1,000 skills, who knows, that you need. You essentially prompt, you have those skills, you package them up. Once you have that, I'm going to come back into my Claude here on the desktop, or you can do this on the web too. It works on both sides. Just simply say, I'm going to upload the skill. You're going to browse. to the location for where you want the skill and go into my skills folder. What I want to go to is, let's go skills and notes, one level up, packaged. So these are the packaged skills. All right. Data summarize, decision journal, LinkedIn post. So let's do a LinkedIn post formatter. I haven't played with this that much, but I think it's fine. I even have one for Medium. So I will go ahead. I think I already imported that. So let's do something different. Let's do a Medium post. All right. So now it's uploaded the Medium post skill, and I have a skill here called Medium Medium post. So it says it formats, optimizes posts for engagement, readability, SEO. For Medium, you can toggle that on or off to keep it based on if you want to use the skill or not. And the reason why I am having everything in Git is because, again, I just worry about losing my effort. So if I have gone through the effort of creating a skill and I upload it into here into Claude, there is no versioning. There is no like way of backing up and getting redundancy off of this. If somehow I delete this, I want to have a copy of that same skill, which is why I'm not only keeping it on my desktop, but I have it also in Git to version control so I can go back to different versions of the skill as I change and go. And it even says here, you can come in and try this particular skill in the chat. So let's go ahead and try that. Let's keep it short. I like to keep this thing short because sometimes it just goes on and on. So it's going to use the Medium post skill, and it would probably tell us it's reading the Medium post skill. It's trying to understand what the skill is, and it would then use that skill to write or format a post according to Medium. So it's looking at the Medium documentation because the skill instructed it to do. And then it's going to create a compelling Medium post, and voila, this is working. All right. So if tomorrow I don't want to work with the Claude UI for some reason, and I want to start working with ChatGPT, and I do bounce between the two, assuming ChatGPT somehow embraces the skill approach, now I can take the same skill, go over to ChatGPT without having to repeat myself. And you can do this with skills. That's something you cannot do with projects. So this is the fundamental difference between what the skill is and what the project is. Project gives you what the skill gives you, but it doesn't give you the portability that this promises. Let's see. This is a of course, this is an interesting article. I wouldn't post something like this. I'll probably have to do some more edit and work on it, but you get the point. Let me go back and give some commentary because I promised I was going to have some commentary about this. The main takeaway from this is, where is my, yep, that's what I'm looking for. Let's move this around. The main takeaway from this is encapsulation and portability is the name of the game. The reality is most people will use Claude. Most people will use Cursor. Most people will use Gemini. They will use ChatGPT and all of the above. And being able to have these instructions that you can quickly move across those different systems becomes a superpower. MCP helps for interacting and talking agent to agent from that perspective, but making an agent more capable. What you want to do is give it skills. And to me, this is the way of managing my skills and then being ready for when OpenAI can support the skills framework. I can take the skills and just port that over to OpenAI or port that over to Gemini or port that over to your favorite LLM or AI, you name it. And this is really my approach. So let's see this one, LinkedIn Medium post. So that's the skill. And I really want to do something here. I think it'll be fun to do. I don't want to end this tutorial without doing this. Let me go into content creation. As a content creator, I spend a lot of time doing that. That's the markdown. So again, the markdown is just what the markdown is, and then you read the markdown to create the .skill file. So let me open this. I want to force open this with text editor to see what it is. Oh, okay. It does say, I thought you can't see it on my other screen, but it says file cannot be opened because it's a skill format. I'll do some research on this. My belief is that what is in this file is a markdown, and I don't know why it's not allowing me to open up and see what is in that file. Let me open it up with Cursor, see if I can force that. Open anyways. All right. Oh, okay. So it does package it up. That's interesting. That is interesting. All right. So we've learned some stuff. That's the fun of doing this in real life. I love it. Now, what's happening is, let's bring this home. Folks are already, and I came across this, I thought it was interesting to share. I already creating marketplaces for these skills. I saw this one, there's a skills.mp, which is marketplace.com. You can come in and browse and download thousands of these skills, knowledge based skills, LLM skills, data analysis skills, cloud skills. I'll pick one as an example. No, let me actually go to education skills. Let me go back home. Oh, there you go. PowerPoint skills. For those who create PowerPoint, you can search for PowerPoint skills. And these are some skills for a presentation design, skill creator, design production, inbox processing. Let's say I wanted this skill, I will click on that. And here is where this space is, things are moving so fast. It's really, you gotta be cautious with all of this. And we're just in the Wild West right now, writing the rule books as we go. But assuming that there is no virus in this, there's no thing to be extremely worried about, it wouldn't even let me download this skill. Let me go back to another one. Let's see, reference skill. Can I download this? All right, it wouldn't let me download this skill. But before, I was able to download some of the skills from here. And my thinking was, once I download external skills, I will have them in another folder here called external skills, again, just to manage the different skills I'm working with. So I did download this skill called the create slide dev presentation. I unzipped it, and within the unzip, you can see there is a skill MD. Let me actually open this up in Cursor. Let's go in here, external skills, and we want to look at the create slide dev presentation skill MD. So this is, I didn't create this skill, I downloaded it from the web. I do love slide dev. If you haven't seen slide dev, check out the channel. I've done some videos on it. It's a good way, a Python framework for creating slides but with code. And here is the instructions for how that skill would work. It does have some references, layouts, troubleshooting instructions. Whoever created this did all the work for that. And it does have some assets, which are just examples of it. Now, this skill has been packaged up into the create slide dev presentation, the slide dev presentation zip. So what I did was, if I go back over to Claude, and I'm gonna come in here, just delete this chat, clean up my chat history just to keep it clean. I want to go back to settings, capabilities, and skills. So here is that skill I just walked you guys through. Let me delete this, and I'll upload that skill back. Go to package. I don't want package because package was .skill, but I can also tell you that if I go to external, I can also import either .skill or I can import .zip. How they did this .zip, I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But what you would notice is the .md you cannot. So the MD is just your instructions, and you can tell Cursor to give you the .skill or to give you the .zip. Just something to be aware of. So here I'm gonna grab the .zip. So again, you can import the zip has this details. I just simply unzip that. You cannot upload the unzip one. You can upload the zipped version. So upload that, and that's how you will get this particular skill into your cloud environment. So now I have this skill for create slide dev presentations, and it says this skill should be used when asked to create or edit slide dev presentations and slide deck. And if I go into the prompt and I prompt and say create me a slide dev presentation, it will kick in, use this skill, and create that presentation for me, using all the examples, using all the artifacts and all the assets that are available in there. I've even seen, and I'll do some more, hopefully some more demos on this, where some skills, if you really want to go more sophisticated, you can take a skill. Let me pick my own skill here, content creation. I'm working on some books. Let's talk about the medium post. Let's say I wanted to have some Python code that does some specific calculations and things like that. You can take that Python code, include that as part of your skill, or that code abstraction, include that into your skill, and that code would run whenever that skill is invoked. I don't have a specific use case yet, but I've heard of people doing that. Skills are more than just basic markdown and such, right? You can really have some specific logic and code you've tested and you want to distribute. You put that into a skill, and then that skill would be invoked. That I think it spins up an environment. It runs the Python code if needed as part of the invocation of that skill. So this is a very extensible way of doing things. And I feel we are just still at the very beginning. There is no versioning. There's the collaboration is there. I think people are just putting things in directories the way I'm doing. But I'm pretty sure if I have to come back and do this video again in 6 months, things will have changed. That is my big bet about what the skills is. So that is it. I excited about skills? I am. I It's been on my radar. I just haven't had a chance to get to it, just given there's so many things that are happening. But now that I look at it and think about it, I could see myself really using it because I'm big about documentation. And if I can document the things I reuse over and over already, then just coming back and reusing the skills, whether I'm in Gemini or I'm in Claude or I'm in MCP or I'm in some code somewhere, I think this is really a good way of thinking about it. The last thing I'll leave you with is this idea of the skill creator. One of the beauties of this skill is you can really stack the skill. If you think about projects work in isolation, so you can have a one Claude project, another Claude project, and these are completely separate. There's no way to shuffle or collaborate or share insights or information across projects. But here's what skills does a little bit differently, which I think is interesting. Assuming that these are not projects, these boxes, but these were actually skills. Now, this could be a skill for writing a blog post. You can abstract that skill and then stack it into a skill for publishing a blog post, and then stack it into a skill for sharing on LinkedIn. So skills now become these packages, these composable units that you can then build and stack in different ways. If you don't like this way of stacking, you can simply have editing and then publishing the post, or you can have a skill that simply goes like this, right? So you can now have skills that can cross pollinate, and a skill could be here and you're using the skill over there, and really build these composable units that can be reused over time or across domains and capabilities. So this is one big difference and promise between what skills are versus the way we used to do things, which is project. And trust me, if I go into projects, you're going to see a lot of projects in there. That's why I'm keeping it as such, not to show. So here, wow, this is taking a while. Just to give you an idea of how long it takes to create these skills. It keeps failing to create the skill for some reason. So maybe I wouldn't be able to show us how to create the skill. Something is making it fail. I'm not entirely sure why. But assuming that it worked, oh, it's actually trying to build an app. Okay. That's the beauty of doing this live. I wish I had a scenario that just worked. So choose the structure that best fits the skill purpose. Docs. Yeah, I think it's overthinking it because, like I said, skill can somehow include code and packages. I just feel like it's overthinking it and including document utilities. But I wouldn't stay to go through this one. Assuming that this work, you can have it build a skill, and once you download the skill, you can come back and upload it. This is essentially using the skill creator skill. Oh, it did finally create this skill. If you wait long enough, it might work. So here is what the actual skill looks like. It's a name, it's a description in a YAML format, and then the text. My guess is it will fail again. I'm not sure why it just keeps failing. But if you're happy with it, just copy the skill. Like I said, put it in a skill.md file. And then, oh, okay, now it's finally working. So let's package up the skill. It's doing the packaging. I know this is making this demo a little bit longer than I expected, but that's what we get. All right, it does say, perfect, I've created a concise. I can see skill.file here. And that's the output. And instructions, you can view the skill. You can open up the skill. That's the skill right here in my desktop, the skill file. This will be the last one, and we should wrap up with this. I really want to make sure you guys get to see this. Let's go in and upload that skill. I'll delete this right afterwards. I think that was in my documents. Open that up. So now I have a music recommender skill, not something to write home about. I don't think it's the most inspiring stuff. But if I was asking for AI music as a leader, it will use this skill for me. And hopefully in the future, you can use this on ChatGPT or Gemini or wherever else this skill is needed. And oh, let's go over to Claude and see Claude AI on the web and see and just check the last piece. I want to go over here. Now I'm on the web just to show you guys the portability of this. Because those skills are not local to me, you can see the music skill also being used on the web. It's available on the API. And let's go to Cloud Code. It will be available in there. Let's go to this. And I'm going to ask, what skills do you have? Just answer this interface. I've done some. Let's see. It's only looking at the repository, so it doesn't really port over to this side as much as I would have expected. So I'll go back to the chat. But I think we get the point. Skills are extremely powerful. I'm impressed with Anthropic's approach. They really anthropomorphize things a lot. Skills is the one more thing they're bringing. They brought in the MCP, and they just continue to push the boundaries in ways that are interesting. And now we'll keep doing the demos as long as they keep releasing cool products. Hopefully this was helpful. A little bit longer than I expected, but hopefully you got some ideas out of this, understanding the difference between skills and projects. You can build your own skills and then have a framework for managing and scaling skills as the innovations in this space continues. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. Share this with somebody that might get a value out of it. This is Fru. I'll see you in the next demo.